Nsibidi, also known as nsibiri or nchibiddy, is a system of symbols or proto-writing developed by the Ekpe secret society that traversed the southeastern part of Nigeria. Nsibidi has been used to document history, celebrate the people's heritage, instruct values, reinforce communication, deliberate on key issues and resolve conflicts. Nsibidi is more commonly associated with the Ejagham people of northern Cross River State and southwestern Cameroon, from where it is believed to have spread to surrounding ethnic groups like the Ibibios, Efiks Annangs and Igbos, influencing their art forms and undergoing notable transformation in the process. Among the Igbos, for instance, Uri or Oligraphic design is often cited as an offshoot of Nsibidi. Of the essence, while Nsibidi does not correspond to any single spoken language, it has dismantled linguistic barriers that would otherwise prevent communication between various ethnic nationalities, therefore facilitating interaction between the groups. In its basic form, Nsibidi relies on abstract and pictographic signs. More specifically, it comprises of representation of words and morphemes as well as representation of ideas and concepts, which forms an extensive vocabulary storehouse. There are thousands of Nsibidi signs covering a range of topics and emotions, including romance, warfare, sacred secrets and rights, social institutions, gender relations, family structures, and legal hierarchies. In addition to delineating the human condition, Nsibidi serves as a pathway to understanding the linguistic patterns of cultures that have developed and utilized the model. Though there is no agreed or confirmed agreement on its source and meaning, Nsibidi is believed to be several information dissemination and have sometimes been outlined through symbolic gestures depicted aerially. One origin theory curiously claims that Nsibidi was devised and taught to respective people by Baboons. The Ugwakima dwell between Ikorana on the Cross River and Uwet on the Calabar River, and seems to be the people known amongst the Efik people as the Unyanga. By them it was taught to the people around them. The way in which the Ugwakima say that they learned Nsibidi is this: in the forest of their country lives many large baboon called idiok in Efik language. When a man is staying in the bush all night and makes a big fire to warm himself or to frighten away wild animals, the idiok will come down from the trees and sit around the fire just like men. When the idiok did this, all men are frightened and ran away, but the Ugwakima were not frightened. Thus, there sprang up a friendship between the idiok and the Ugwakima. After some time, the idiok begins to write signs on the ground which the Ugwakima did not understand. At last it was seen that when an idiok traced a sign on the ground and then it acted in pantomime, the sign on the ground meant the act performed. These signs the Ugwakima called Nsibidi, which is derived from an Igbo word Sibidi, meaning to play, for they had learned these signs through the playing of the idiok. Another school of thought traces its meaning to the Echoid language, a range of dialects like Ikajuk and Ejagham, spoken mainly in southeastern Nigeria and adjacent Cameroonian regions, where it purportedly means Creole later. The latter is a direct reference to the strict and cruel policies adopted by secret societies that customarily had profound knowledge of the practice. Researchers have been particularly adamant about the initial and primary use of Nsibidi by members of the Ekpe, also known as the Leopard Secret Society, which exists among the Ekois, Efiks Annangs, Ibibios and Igbos, and the neighboring communities wielding extensive political and commercial influence. The Nsibidi layered Ukara cloth of the Ekpe Society, for example, it signals the wealth, influence and power of titled men and postmenopausal women. Sometimes it is tied around the waist as a wrapper. Large pieces of cloth are also used to decorate society meeting rooms on special occasions. Nsibidi visuals that typically appear on the cloth include abstract geometric and organic shape. as well as more recognizable images like that of the leopard, its claws, the crocodile, the lizard, drums, gongs, staffs, feathers, and Malina currency, all of which refer to wealth, authority, beauty, just as several African culture and artistic prototypes were transported to the New World via the transatlantic slave trade. Nsibidi was also carried to Cuba and Haiti, where it has survived and evolved into anaphorona and very iconic representations. Nsibidi has a wide vocabulary of signs, usually imprinted on calabashes, brassware, textile, wood, sculptures, masquerade costumes, buildings, and on human skin. Nsibidi has been described as a fluid system of communication consisting of hundreds of abstract and pictographic signs. Nsibidi was described in the colonial era as a kind of primitive secret writing. It is explained that Nsibidi was used for messages cut or painted on split palm stems. Nsibidi was used in judgment cases, also referred to as Ekpe in Efik language. Nsibidi is also used to design the Ukara Ekpe, woven material which is usually dyed blue but also green and red. Ukara Ekpe clothes are woven in Abakaliki, and then they are designed by male Nsibidi artists in the Igbo-speaking towns of Abiriba, Aruchuku, and Ohafia to be worn by members of the Ekpe society. Ukara motifs are being designed in white and are placed on grid set against an indigo background. Nsibidi was divided into sacred and public versions. However, Western education and Christian indoctrination drastically reduced the number of Nsibidi literates, leaving the secret society version as the last surviving form of the symbols. Strangely, Nsibidi and the Egyptian hieroglyphics share some characters. Nsibidi was taught to select secret groups that exuded power and authority. In the Black Panther films, these symbols can be seen intricately placed on the set design. It is a nod to African rich history and culture, and adds an extra layer of depth and authenticity to the already groundbreaking franchise. In recent times, efforts have been made to preserve the Nsibidi system, which was in danger of being lost due to its declining use. This effort includes the establishment of Nsibidi studies in schools and the documentation of Nsibidi symbols by scholars.